But this is the Tyler Durden quote from Fight Club, the film, the David Fincher film made in 1999, where he says, the things you own eventually own you. Because surely there is something to that, especially when we've had such a massive uplift in consumption since the 40s, 50s, 60s.
There are certainly pathological cases. So we have debate about people addicted to shopping, shoplifters in the great department stores of the 19th century. Interestingly, from a historian's point of view, then psychologists and police officers assumed that it was mainly menstruating women who were led to these shops and returned having shoplifted items. Of course, nonsense from our point of view. But this fear that demand can be addictive and ultimately control us is a very, very old one. So going back all the way to the ancients like Plato, the idea that things are in the saddle, Emerson, the American poet, said, riding us. But you have also the opposite point of view, which is growing really from the Renaissance and into the Enlightenment then in the 17th and 18th century, which is that it's wrong to think of us as separate from things. That was of the old view, that things have to be kept at bay, because if you allow them into your lives, they will control you. They will distract you from being a good, God-loving Christian, because you're lusting for fashionable items or comfort. Life should be tough. That will harden you. But you can take a different view, and the great American philosopher and psychologist William James, the brother of the novelist Henry James, put this very well. He said, people don't just have a psychological self, they don't just have a social self where they care about family and friends, they also have a material self. So the things in our lives are not something external, they're actually part of what makes us human.
Right.
And we can think of lots of, we're sitting in chairs, for instance, we're sleeping in beds. There are lots of objects that are integral to our lifestyles. I think the big question is, how many things do you need to be human, and when is it no longer sustainable psychologically, but also environmentally?